What is going on, YouTube? So coming back today with my Iowa State Cyclones football preview for 2016. So talking about a team that went 3-9 last year, 2-7 in conference, able to get wins against Texas and Kansas. Texas one was a big shutout win at home, but looking to make a big step forward in 2016, bringing in a new coach, former Toledo head coach Matt Campbell, and what looks like a good hire and a good set of young talent ready to take this Iowa State team forward. So start with the first of my three key players, and to start I've got Joel Lanning. So coming into his junior year, one of the better dual threat quarterbacks in the Big 12, a guy that I think is the best quarterback Iowa State's had for a little while, and it seemed like they were in the Sam B. Richardson era forever. But this is a guy that's got just so many weapons at wide receiver this year. Alan Lazard, Trevor Ryan, Dondre Daly, they're deepest at wide receiver that I've really ever seen for Iowa State. So my second key player for Iowa State is Mike Warren. Led all freshmen in the country last year in rushing yards, looking for an even better 2016 campaign. My thing with Mike Warren is he going to get stacked up in the box this year? Is Iowa State going to be able to have enough of a balanced offense to be able to get Mike Warren the space he needs to be able to operate and be one of the better players in the Big 12 this year? Mike Warren's been named as one of the dark horses for Big 12 Player of the Year this year. Obviously, one of the bigger obstacles for him is just going to be his overall team's record, just his team's talent. That's something he can't really control too much. But again, one of the more explosive running backs in the conference and should have a big year again in 2016. So my third key player is defensive tackle for Iowa State, Damon Tucker. So this is a very experienced defensive line coming back for Iowa State this year. They have 8 starters returning along the defense. Gabe Luna, Pierre Aka, Damon Tucker, and Justin Thomas should be able to lead one of the better defensive lines in the Big 12 this year. They struggled mightily on defense last year, 107th in yards against. So hopefully with 8 returning starters this year, they can be able to get to that maybe at least the top half of defenses in college football. Obviously, you need a good pass defense, at least in the Big 12. So my first of 2 X factors is for Iowa State to take a step in the right direction with this new coach. Matt Campbell did a very good job at Toledo, and it seems like a great hire for Iowa State. He's going to need to bolster the defense. I'm going to talk about the offense here in a little bit, but the secondary could use a little bit of work. The safeties are going to have to be big this year. Cotton Moya and Mike Johnson are going to have to be big this year, and I do believe that Matt Campbell can give this defense the push in the right direction. Paul Rhodes, for a long time, seemed like he was going to be able to turn this program around. Never really happened, but now it is Matt Campbell's turn. So, move on to my second X factor, and I have them needing to have an explosive offense for this year. If they want to be able to keep up in the Big 12, you got to have a good scoring offense. They have the ability to do it. Their skill positions, as I've mentioned before, are stacked for this year. One of the best receivers in the conference, one of the best running backs in the conference, and one of the better quarterbacks in the conference. They weren't a bad offense last year by any means, putting up 31 against Oklahoma State, 35 against Kansas State, very close to beating both of those teams. They put up around 20 to 30 points in a lot of their games, but they're going to have to get up around that 40 to 50 range if they want to start winning some games inside the Big 12 and get back to being a bowl-quality team. So moving to my trap game for Iowa State, and I think it is Kansas. Now, the hard thing about Iowa State and teams like this, I mentioned this before the last couple of days, is when you only expect a team to win around 2 to 4 games, it's hard to come up with the trap games. It has to be one of those 2 to 4. There's two that really stand out to me on the schedule. One is San Jose State, two is Kansas. They have to go to Memorial Stadium, a Kansas team that should be a lot better at that point in the season, and a Kansas team that's very ready to get their first conference win in at least a year. So, and Iowa State is their most winnable game. So they got to be ready for that. It comes right in between OU and Texas Tech, two very tough games. So if they're not that if they are beat up by that point in the season, then it could be a rough game for Iowa State. Rough game is in a close game because it's still Kansas. So move into my biggest game for Iowa State, and I think it's going to be West Virginia. Now, here's my thinking on this whole thing. They get West Virginia at home this year. It's their final game. I could have picked any team from Kansas State to Texas Tech to West Virginia to Texas to Baylor. Because, like I said, if Iowa State wants to be able to move up to being a bowl-quality team, they're going to have to start beating these teams. West Virginia is the final game of the season. They get them at home. West Virginia, one of the more uncertain teams in the Big 12 this year, and it seems like it could be a winnable game for Iowa State. I don't want to say Texas because they get the Texas game on the road this year, and I think Texas is extremely pissed off about what happened last year and will probably end up winning that game. But West Virginia, like I said, is a very winnable game for Iowa State this year. So moving to my record prediction for Iowa State. And I think they will go 3-9. I think it'll be the same record as last year. Tends to be one of the trends for me today. So going up and down their schedule, it seems like Northern Iowa should be a win. San Jose State should definitely be a win since they get them at home. And then Kansas should be a win as well. They could steal one more game. That's one of the good parts about Iowa State's schedule this year is they've got 3 very winnable games. If they can steal 2 or 3 more games, if they can beat West Virginia, Texas, and Kansas State, granted, that sounds hard to do for an Iowa State team. Even if they can get to 4 or 5 wins this year, that'd be a step up. So that pretty much does it for this video. I'll be coming back later today with my Maryland and Indiana previews, and then that will wrap up the day for college football previews. But that's pretty much it. See ya.